So I hope you are having an amazing day. So I wanted to come on and really just share about my journey losing weight with the Lord. Well, some of you don't know me, so I wanted to share a little about my story to kind of catch you up. And that way we can kind of go from there. And I really just want to show you how God is faithful and how, like I said, he led me in my weight loss journey to be able to lose 80 pounds. And I am so grateful for that. So, when I first started on my weight loss journey, well, let me back it up. So, first off, I was not overweight. I did not grow up overweight. I was really thin. The as a in my younger life, and then I didn't really start gaining weight until college, and that's when I started gaining weight. And it's one of those things where you're like in college, or you look at pictures back at your old self, and you're like, back then I was thinking that I was overweight, and when I look at the pictures now, I'm like, what was I thinking? Right, like I had gained weight in college, a total of like 40 pounds over the course of college. And but the thing is, I was so thin when I first went in college. So to me, it seemed like at that weight where I had gained the 40 pounds, like that was so much weight at that time. But when I look back on pictures, I'm like, what was I thinking? I was so not overweight at that time. The funny thing is, that weight that I was after I gained the 40 pounds is actually the first weight that I am aiming towards getting to now in this weight loss journey. So it's just hilarious. So I don't know if you've ever experienced that. You can let us know. But yeah, so I didn't really grow up overweight. I didn't start gaining weight until I was an adult. And what started happening is I started using food for comfort, because one of the things for me was people pleasing. And I really just wanted to be loved and accepted by people. And so when I wasn't getting that, then I would start turning to food for comfort. And it got to this point where I just didn't care anymore. I didn't care about how I looked anymore. I didn't care about, trying to be healthy or anything like that anymore, because it seemed like none of that stuff mattered to other people. And it didn't affect, like how they were treating me. I hope this is making sense. So it was like I was trying to look a certain way or be a certain way, but regardless of what I was doing, it wasn't satisfying people, right? And that was something, I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's something that I had to come to realize, is that you will never please all of the people all of the time. A lot of times you won't even please some of the people all of the time. And so that was something that I was going through at that time. And sorry if you hear my dog in the background. But Marcus. So yeah, so I just got to this point where I was just like, I didn't really care anymore. And so with me comfort eating, with me not really caring about how I looked or how I showed up anymore, it really got to this place where I just was forming these really bad eating habits, and started overeating. I would say that I had a sugar addiction. I mean, that's me self-diagnosing, but I would say I had a sugar addiction as well at that time. And so it just got to where I just was gaining more and more and more weight. And I got to this point, the first point I got to where I was like, okay, I want to start trying to lose weight again, is when I started getting really close to 200 pounds. And I remember I was like 189 at the time. And so I was like, no way, I'm not gonna weigh 200 pounds. No way, I'm gonna start losing weight. So that was like my first initiation into yo-yo dieting. And so I started doing all the weird and crazy things that we do when we're desperate to lose weight. And I would lose a little bit of weight, gain it back, lose a little, gain it back, and gain some more. And then the next thing I know, I was over 200 pounds. And then I was just going along. Life was lifing. I was just continuing to every once in a while feel this whim that I wanted to try to lose weight. And so I would try again. And I remember then I got really close to 300 pounds. And I was like, no way, I'm not going to weigh 300 pounds. Like, that's too much. I'm not going to do this. Now, mind you, this is from someone who was really close to weighing 100 pounds most of their life. So that's why when I got close to 200, I was like, no way, no, I can't, because that would be like double my weight, right? But then I was over. And then I got to this point where I was like, no way, I'm not going to weigh 300 pounds. I got to do something. So I started the dieting, joining the programs and all the things. And I did get to a point where I lost 75 pounds before I hit 300 pounds. And I got engaged. The engagement broke off. I gained the weight back and then some. And next thing I knew, I eventually, over time, was over 300 pounds. Not right away after the engagement broke off, but I gained the weight back. And then as life kept lifing, was just gaining more and gaining more. And so instead of losing weight, like I originally planned, I just kept gaining and gaining. And I was married and then divorced. And so through all that, continued to gain weight. And to the point where I had gotten close to 400 pounds. And that was a point, so it was like, I would say the lowest point in my life. Whew, gosh, why am I about to start crying? I would say the lowest point in my life. And not because of the weight, I'm saying just because of everything going on, the stress and all the things of life just weighing on me. And so the last thing I cared about was my weight. I didn't care. Like, I was just trying to survive. And so I didn't care about what I was eating. I didn't care to take care of myself. I just wanted to survive and make sure the kids were taken care of. Because even at that time, I was in a fight to keep my kids together, because this was after my divorce. So I had gotten to this point where I was close to 400 pounds. And after some of the stress from all of it relieved, I realized, like, if I don't take care of myself, if I don't do something about this, I'm not even going to be here for the kids. And I want to be here. Like, I want to see them grow up. I want to see them get married. I want to see them do ministry and all the things, right? And so I got to this point where I'm like, okay, I got to do something about this. And so I was like, Lord, I don't know what to do. And at this time, I was growing in my relationship with the Lord. The church I was at the time that I was going through the divorce, and the church prior to that were really churches that taught the Bible. And so it was the first time where I was really understanding the Lord and who he was to me, who I was to him, and where I started actually wanting to read the word and wanting to develop a relationship with him. But it still wasn't really deep. It was still very much a milk, you know, how they say the milk versus the meat. It was very much a milk relationship, but still I wanted to go deeper with the Lord. And so I got to that point and I was like, Lord, I can't do this anymore. I need help. I got to get myself together. And I know that dieting is not going to help me, because I've been trying to diet for over 20 years now. It was over 20 years at this point. And I'm like, I've been trying to diet for over 20 years. So I know that's not the answer. I've tried the programs. I've tried the diets. I've read the books. I've almost starved myself trying to lose weight. And I know none of that's the answer. So I just want to work on my relationship with food and get to a place where I'm not overeating, and where I can just eat to live instead of living to eat, right? Like they say. And so I was just crying out to him, and I'm like, whatever, however long it takes is how long it takes. I dropped the deadlines, I dropped the diets, and I was like, okay, we're just gonna get better. And so at that time, when I started, I didn't realize I needed the heart healing as well, but I knew dieting wasn't the answer anymore because it wasn't working for me for all those years. I didn't understand though that I needed heart healing at that time when I was crying out to him. And so um, I, I said, okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on drinking water because I knew from my background, I have a BS in physiology. I was getting my master's in public health education. So I had nutrition classes in college and all that. I knew the importance of drinking water. I knew about, all the nutrition stuff. Uh, but I just wasn't doing it, right? And so I was like, okay, I know I need to drink more water. I know how important that is for my body. And I know I'm eating way too much sweets. So at that time, I was I was drinking like almost 2 liters of soda a day. And when I say that, it wasn't like I was just taking a 2 liter bottle and just drinking it like I have my 2 liters of water now. But it wasn't that. But it was the mindless eating and the mindless drinking. And so what I was doing was just constantly, like I would go buy 20-ounce bottles of soda, or I would grab can after can after can. And I know with the amount that I was consuming that it was probably about 2 liters of soda a day. And I was drinking absolutely no water. Like that was my drink all day was soda. And then the other thing was the sweets. And I was eating sweets every single day, every day. And sometimes multiple times a day. There would even be times where I would, it would be like super late at night, and I would be like, oh, taking my trip to the convenience store to go get a sweet. It didn't matter. I remember even when I was pregnant, I used to have my ex like get up. We would be all like comfy. It would be late at night. Get up, go to the store, get me a pickle and a carrot cake. That's what I wanted during that pregnancy. But I didn't need that. I was already overweight, and we can call it pregnancy cravings all we want, but let's be real. It was just I was already eating sweets all the time. Maybe the pickle was, but I like pickles too. So anyway, the pickles and the carrot cake. And he would go multiple times a week, late at night, and go get that for me. But anyway, so I knew soda and sweets were my two things. And so when I decided to go on this weight loss journey and I was talking to the Lord about it, I felt like he wanted me to start a YouTube channel. And I was like, yeah, like I'm gonna do a YouTube channel and show people my weight loss journey. But then in the back of my mind, I was like, because I was like, I've always wanted to encourage and inspire other people. So I was like, yeah, like it could help inspire other people to lose weight so they can get healthy. And then, maybe I can get some like ad revenue from YouTube. So that'll help me make some money while I'm doing my other business because I was in a different business at the time. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to start this YouTube channel. But I, in the back of my mind, was scared of failing, and I did not want to fail in front of who knew how many people. And so I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to, for 2 weeks, not drink any soda and not eat any sweets for 2 weeks. And if I can do that, then I know I am serious this time about losing weight. And I'm going to start the YouTube channel, and then I will continue to go forward. And so that's what I did. So for 2 weeks, I gave up the soda and I gave up the sweets. And it wasn't for any reason other than I needed to prove to myself that this time was different. I need to prove to myself that I could do this with the Lord and go forward without a diet or anything. And I kept reminding myself that it's only 2 weeks. You can do it. It's only 2 weeks. Now there is a story within that story where I had a breakdown crying in the store and wanted soda. That's a whole that's a whole nother thing for another day. You might have already heard me say that, or I mentioned it in my book as well. But anyway, so after that 2 weeks, I started the YouTube channel and I started sharing my weight loss journey. And if you go on the channel here on the home page, you'll see there's a playlist from when I started that channel and when I started sharing my actual weight loss journey, not just teaching. I was actually just sharing my weight loss journey. So you can go back and watch those videos. And so that's what we did. And I knew, like, I wasn't planning on not drinking soda and not having sweets for the rest of my life. I just wanted to do it for that 2 weeks because I knew if I made it through that meant I was going to have this breakthrough and something was going to be different. And so I did that. I was sharing my journey on YouTube, sharing, like my goal was to lose somewhere around 200 pounds. I wasn't really sure how much it was going to be exactly because I knew it's not like I'm going to be back down to like my high school weight or anything like that. So I wasn't really sure what the weight was going to be. So I started that journey. And I also, a month or so later, started business coaching with a Kingdom business coach. And she's a spirit-led business coach as well. And so what happened is that was really the pivotal point where I started really going deeper in my spiritual development and in my journey with the Lord. And through this business coaching, I started to spend time with the Lord in the mornings, like first thing in the mornings. That's where like he started really showing up, and he started showing up. I started showing up. I was the one that wasn't coming to him, but I actually started showing up so that he could start speaking to me first thing in the mornings. And so I noticed like he was speaking to me more. I noticed like Holy Spirit like nudging me more and leading me more. And I just really noticed his presence more in my life once I started having that intentional time with him. And that was due to business coaching. It had nothing, this is the funny thing. And even when you come into Whole and Holy Girls Club, you come in for the weight loss, but it's really kind of a discipleship. And it's you'll notice your relationship with the Lord getting deeper as you're there, because it's about your whole life, spirit, soul, and body, not just about the weight loss. And so that was the interesting thing about this business coaching with her, is that although it was about the business, it wasn't about the business. Just like I say, it's about the weight loss, but it's not about the weight loss, because there's underlying reasons why you're not losing the weight, and there were underlying reasons why I was not having the success in business that I wanted to have. And so I had this business coaching with her. Like I said, it was about a previous business that I was in. It had nothing to do with what I'm doing now. And one of the things she asked us during this program was, is God enough? Is God enough? And so me thinking like I'm the good Christian girl, like, I love the Lord, like he's, my number one, like, yes, God is enough. Of course he's enough. But when I really sat down with him and dug into that question, that is when I realized that he actually was not enough for me. Or I didn't feel, let me rephrase that, because we know God is enough. Stop, Marcus. We know God is enough. But in my heart, I wasn't allowing him to be enough. Let me phrase it that way. That I wasn't allowing him, Marcus, to be enough. You're going to have to take him out or go so he'll stop barking at you. Okay, let me let my dog out, y'all. Always Marcus. Can you go around? If he could fit, why can't you fit? Can you go? Oh my goodness. Hold on, y'all. Go ahead, Marcus. Whoop. Go on. We're real up close and personal right now. Oh, brother. Anyway. All right. So, I wasn't allowing him to be enough for me. And I was realizing that because, like I said, for the majority of my life, I was people pleasing. And so not only I was people pleasing, and so I was trying to get filled and get validated by people instead of him. And then I was trying to get filled and comforted by food instead of him. And then I was in this place where I was striving in business, which even led me to the business coaching, because I was trying to be fulfilled and validated by money and success. And so I was not allowing him to be enough for me. And I hope that helps somebody get free right there. Because I was trying to get validated from all these things. I was trying to get filled and fulfilled by all those things instead of the very one thing, which is a person, a who, that could actually fulfill me. The one who would validate me. The one who would fill me. And it would be calorie free. But I was trying to get all of that from everything else but him. And a lot of us find ourselves in these places for whatever reason. Whatever the thing is, whether it's people pleasing like it was for me, or maybe it's past trauma, maybe it's unmet expectations, disappointments, whatever it is, and we're trying to get filled and fulfilled by all of these outer things, and we're trying to fill these places in our heart with everything else but him, when he's the only one that can fill that. And so that's what I was doing. And that's what I learned when I did that business coaching. And that took me on this journey to this place of just wanting to be content in him. And I was even at this place where I was trying to get filled and fulfilled by trying to get, remarried, looking for another spouse. And that's a whole nother story for another day. But still looking to people instead of looking to him. And so I had to get to this place where he was enough for me, and I was no longer, people pleasing and trying not, and really the people pleasing wasn't even about the people. It was about me trying to get filled by people. So that's where I was. And sorry, I wrote notes for myself because I didn't want to leave anything out. So I got to that place and I realized that. And so that's where he took me on this journey where I started losing the weight mentally and emotionally from trying to be filled and fulfilled and validated by everything else, to where I could not only lose the weight physically, but actually keep it off this time. Because that's the reason that I was stuck in the yo-yo dieting and the losing weight and gaining it back and then gaining more and losing weight, gaining it back, gaining more. That's really what it was. Because as much as I'm going to tell you, you don't need to diet, because you don't. It doesn't mean that dieting doesn't work. You lose weight dieting, but you're not going to keep it off if you don't have the weight lost from your heart and from your mind. If you don't have the weight lost mentally and emotionally as well. That's how we get stuck in the yo-yo dieting. Or you're trying to do restrictions and trying to make all these rules and all this stuff for yourself, thinking that it's going to help you just be strict enough to lose the weight, when that's not the answer. The answer's not in the rules and restrictions. It's in the relationship with him. So that was the place I had to get to. And so I started working on my relationship with him, and I was doing the YouTube channel, and then he told me that he wanted me to start teaching fitness classes. Now, mind you, at the time, when I felt the Lord was telling me this, I still weighed over 300 pounds. I mean, I was like right at the border from 300 to under 300. But I was still 300 pounds, and I felt the Lord telling me to get certified. And I knew that it was going to be dance fitness because that's what I love to do. And I used to like teach our youth dance group and things like that. But anyway, I knew it was going to be Christian dance. Well, I knew it was going to be dance fitness. It wasn't even Christian dance fitness. I knew it was going to be dance fitness classes because first off, I don't like exercising, and that was the only way that I was going to actually want to exercise. And so he led me to do that. I got certified, and then I also got licensed with a particular company so that I could start teaching dance fitness through, like under their name and what they were doing and their choreography and all that. And then as I was going along, so first off, that right there, a part of that was healing my people pleasing, because who am I to show up weighing over 300 pounds where I couldn't even make it through a whole y'all just being for real. I could not even make it through a whole exercise, the whole dance fitness class. I would have my son come in and he would do like one or two songs for me, and I'd be over on the side like catching my breath, drinking water, catching my breath, because and when I first started, my plan was to have 45-minute dance fitness classes, but I could not make it through the 45 minutes. It was terrible, and it was hot in my house as well. And so I would have my son like do one or two of the songs because he was like, trying to motivate me, and he would do them with me. And I would be over catching my breath, drinking my water, and then jump back in. And I would feel so miserable after. And then I was like, okay, these classes are just going to be 30 minutes because I know y'all are busy and you're tired. Like, really, I'm tired. So the classes were cut down to 30 minutes. And still, in the beginning, I couldn't make it through. But as I continued, I could do it. And I started making it through the 30 minutes. And then I even got to a point where I wasn't even tired anymore after the 30 minutes. So first off, if you're just starting, like moving your body, just keep going. Just do little by little and keep going. You'll find that you're building up endurance, and you'll be able to do more and more as you continue. And like even with me walking, so one of the things I did on my channel was I did like a challenge for the channel where it's like I walked a mile a day. I think it was it for 14 days? Either it was 14 days or 30 days. I can't remember, but the video's on the channel. But anyway, whatever it was. And so I was like miserable. I hated it. I hated walking every day. And I would be like, when I first started trying to move my body, my feet would be hurting, my back would be hurting. It was like so miserable. But I just kept going and kept going. Like I did it for the challenge in the beginning. And I even said at the end of the challenge, like, I don't even like walking. I don't know if I'll ever do this again. And the funny thing is, now where I am, I love to go walk. It's also my time that I spend with the Lord in worship and speaking with Him. But even without that beautiful piece of it, I like to actually walk now. So it's just so funny thinking back to that. But anyway, so yeah, so he led me to do that. Like I said, a part of that was breaking off that people pleasing, because I had to be willing to show up and do it regardless of what people would say. Because, some people would say, well, why would I go exercise with her? Like, she's not even fit. Like, there's this whole people will say like, why would you get weight loss advice from a fat coach, or why would you get fitness advice from a fat personal trainer? You know what I'm saying? There's that whole thing. We'll get into that in a minute, but but anyway, so that was a part of breaking off that people pleasing and just giving God my yes. And so I said yes. And I'm like, regardless if people show up or not, I'm going to go ahead and do this. And so I started teaching the dance fitness classes. And as I was on that journey, he started convicting me about the music. And now, mind you, I already didn't listen to secular music. Like when I first started growing in my relationship with the Lord, the very first thing he made me get rid of was the music, because I was really big on music. I love music. And that was the very first thing he convicted me about. And so I'm not even a person that listens to secular music, but because I was doing dance fitness with this particular company, they would do secular songs. And the songs, though, that they chose were neutral. They weren't like, vulgar or anything like that. They would always pick like neutral songs, but still, and so I thought it was okay. But the Lord ended up convicting me about that. And so I ended up leaving, no longer, working with that company and being licensed by them, to just choreographing my own, because I could do that. I've been choreographing, dance since high school. So I just ended up choreographing my own and doing it to only Christian music. So then I was doing only Christian dance fitness. And so that was just more ways that he was just refining me, and he was just getting me to this place of giving him my yes and allowing him to lead me and just continuing to refine me. And even though it seems like some of that has nothing to do with my weight loss journey, I mean, obviously exercising does, but even just going from listening or doing the dance fitness to transitioning to only Christian dance fitness, that ties into the weight loss journey as well, because that's still allowing him to lead me and giving him my yes. And the thing is, when you are trying to have a spirit-led weight loss journey, when you want to do weight loss with God, then you have to be willing to allow him to lead you. And so me giving him my yes in that was just another way to strengthen myself spiritually, to be able to give him my yes when he said, don't get the second donut. Or to be able to give him my yes when he says, you don't need to get seconds. Right? So it all ties in. So it was at that point that, like I said, I started teaching the Christian dance fitness classes. And as I was going along doing that, then he told me to sit down the business I was in at the time. And so I didn't know why, but I told him I can't do this business anymore. So I had to let my customers go and let them know I was no longer in that business. And then he ended up leading me into coaching, to where I was now coaching. He was leading me to coach other people in health. And the funny thing with this is that I felt from the very beginning that he really only wanted me to coach only Christian women, but I kept fighting it. And it wasn't that I didn't want to work with Christian women. I love Christian women. Obviously, you're my sisters in Christ. But it was that I kept thinking like, well, why would I only need to work with Christian women? I can work with everybody, and then they can see the light of Jesus through me, and it could help draw them to the kingdom, right? Like, this is like me just making excuses and just not, and being disobedient, really. This was not me giving him my full yes. But I did put the business down at least and started coaching, and I didn't jump right in. I was like, no, I feel like I want to get nutrition coaching certification first. So I got my nutrition coaching certification, and then after I got that certification, I was like, let me like coach a few people for free first. So I did that so that I could make sure I was ready. And the thing was, the certifications were not what qualified me. When I got the certification, all I realized is that everything in that certification I already knew. I already knew it through what I had gone, what I've been through in college, or in the master's program, or just through my own weight loss journey over 20 years trying to lose weight, as well as the coaching that I had received from my business coach as well. Because I'm that type of person, when I learn something, I learn it to teach it to others. So I already knew how to coach. So I felt like I needed that certification when God was just like, I told you to go coach. I didn't say you need to be certified. I was qualified because of him, not because of the certification. But this was still me growing in my confidence, growing in my relationship with him, growing in my identity in him. And so I was like, I got the certification anyway. Nobody even ever asked me if I'm certified to do what I do. They show up because they see Holy Spirit through me, in me. They see Jesus in me and through me. So let that be something for some of you out there. The Lord is calling you to do something, and you feel like you're not qualified to do it. You feel like you need another come on, Marcus, another certification or another whatever degree to do what he's calling you to do, when he's like, I didn't tell you to do that. I just told you to be obedient and do what I told you to do, Moses. So just know that if he's calling you to it, now he may call you to something that you do actually need a degree for it, but don't let it be like what I'm saying. For me, I thought I needed that. I thought people wouldn't come work with me unless I had that, but that wasn't the case. So I hope that frees somebody and saves you some money, so you're not wasting money on certifications you don't need or degrees. All right. So that got me to this point where I started coaching other people. And throughout this whole time, I was still on my weight loss journey. He was still leading me. I was continuing to lose weight. And what it was too was because I was still overweight, I didn't feel that anyone would want to come work with me because I was still overweight. So I felt like I needed to get that certification, like to validate that I knew what I was talking about. So you should come work with me because I know, even though, yes, I'm still losing weight. And so again, trying to get validation from other things instead of just him. And so I started coaching other people on weight loss. And I actually sit right here. No, sit here. I actually wasn't satisfied with that because I wasn't fully doing what he told me to do. Remember, I said he actually was leading me to only coach Christian women, but I was trying to just coach everybody. And so I was just blending in with all other health coaches, trying to do the things other health coaches do, trying to like help you, track your food and all that stuff. And that was not what he called me to do whatsoever. And so I wasn't satisfied with that. And I did not like it. I was about to say I hated it. I did not like it. I did not like it at all. But it's because I was out of alignment with what it was he was actually calling me to do. And so I was continuing on my journey. I was still trying to help people. And I finally got to this place where I listened. And I was like, okay, Lord, I believe you're telling me to only focus on Christian women. So that's what I'm going to do. And so I started focusing on only Christian women. So my content was only for them. And it took off compared to where I was before. It took off. And things started accelerating in the business. And wait, let me back it up. So before I got to that point where I started focusing on Christian women, I actually wrote, he led me earlier that year, 2023, to write a book. I knew he wanted me to write a book, but I didn't know what the book was going to be about or anything like that. And so the end of 2022, I had a workshop that was for Christian women um, who wanted to invite God into their weight loss journey. And so I did that workshop, and I still was not focused on Christian women, but that particular workshop was just for Christian women. And the workshop didn't even go as great as I thought. Some people showed up, but not as great as I thought. But I still wasn't coaching only Christian women. And so then he led me to start writing my book in January of 2023. And then I released the book, Christ Over Cookies, in April of 2023. April 15th is when it launched. And so I still wasn't coaching Christian women. I'm like, I'm not going to coach only Christian women, but I'll do this workshop. I'll write this book, but I'm still not going to only coach Christian women. And it wasn't until the end of 2023 when I finally was like, okay, Lord, let me listen. I'm going to do what you say. And from there, like, things like took off in the business. And so now this is what happened. In 2023, I was in this place where I had lost 80 pounds. So the prior 2 years, I was in the weight loss journey with the Lord and following his lead. I was relearning what it meant to be full, to not be overstuffed, to honor his temple, to allow him to lead me, to listen to Holy Spirit nudgings, all that. For 2 years, I was doing that while he was healing my heart, while he was refining me and removing those things off of me, so that I got to this place where he was enough, and I allowed him to fulfill and fill and validate me instead of things on the outside. But I still wasn't perfect, obviously, right? And I'll get to that in a minute. But I was in this place, so I had lost 80 pounds by this point, and I had planned that by the end of my book, by the time my book published, I should have been at 90 pounds down. Like, that was, based on like the rate that I normally lose weight. But for some reason, I wasn't. And so I had to like change that in the book before I published it and just put 80 pounds. And so I published it, I was 80 pounds down. And for the entire like 2023, I did not lose weight. I don't know. I didn't really know why. I didn't really know what was going on. My mom did pass away in 2023 in June. However, I stopped losing weight really when I started writing the book. And so what he revealed to me later, there was some spiritual warfare going on because of what I was stepping into and coming into. Because when I wrote the book, that was like the first like catalyst, right, of me coming into this space of helping Christian women get free from this oppression of the sin of gluttony and the spirit of gluttony and any other spirit that was oppressing them, causing them to overeat and emotionally eat. And so there was like this spiritual warfare going on, plus some other things spiritually that were going on in my personal life outside of the book. And so anyway, for that entire year, I wasn't losing weight. And like I said, at the end of 2023, I finally gave him my yes. And I got to this place where I was like, again, trying to be validated by people. I'm like, but Lord, who's going to want to listen to me because I was like striving. I was trying to lose the weight. Like I said, I had gotten to 80 pounds down, and I was like trying to lose the weight. But now, mind you, I didn't have to strive when I was just allowing him to lead me. I didn't have to try to do the most while I was just allowing him to lead me to lose the 80 pounds. But once the weight stalled, and I realized I was actually stepping into full obedience with what he wanted me to do, I started shifting into this place of like, oh, I gotta try to get this weight off, because I know in my heart and in my mind that this is what God wants me to do. And so if I'm actually now being fully obedient into what the Lord wants me to do, that means doors are about to open for me. And so because I knew that, then that got me to this place of like, okay, like I gotta lose this weight. I gotta lose this weight. And stressing about losing weight when I wasn't stressed before. And then I got to this point where I'm like, Lord, like, who's gonna listen to me if I haven't lost the weight yet? If I haven't, hit my goal weight yet? Because mind you, I was 80 pounds down. There's still like about 100 pounds I wanted to lose. I'm still overweight. My belly's still huge. So like, who's gonna listen? Who's gonna listen to me? And he had to get me to this place of realizing again that I am not validated by anything else except him. And that includes my weight. And so it wasn't necessarily that I was trying to please people or trying to get the degrees or trying to get the certifications or things anymore. I had gotten to this point of now trying to be validated by my weight. And so he really had to show me that it's not your weight that qualifies you. I do. I do. And that's one of the things too we see in scripture, when Samuel was going to anoint David, right? And he was looking at all the other brothers and thinking, oh, surely it must be this one, because he was looking at the outer appearance. And that's what that scripture means when he's saying, man looks at the outer appearance, but I look at the heart. It doesn't mean he doesn't care about the outer appearance. He's the one that made us beautiful. But it means that's not what qualifies you. And so he had to show me that. And I had to release that. I had to release, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't even release that until this year, 2025. And that was the end of 2023. I released it somewhat and just showed up and kept showing up and not caring. But I didn't fully remove that from my identity until this year. Like I used to have it on my profile that I was 80 pounds down, because I'm like, people got to know that I've already lost 80 pounds. Even though I was like proud of the fact that I lost the 80 pounds and I knew I could help, I still like had it as like this badge, like this certifies me. I lost 80 pounds. I know I'm still fat, but look, I lost 80 pounds. You can listen to me. You can trust me. And it wasn't until this year that I got to this point where I was like, I removed that from my profile. If you go on IG right now, it doesn't say that anymore. And so if someone's going to show up to work with me, it's because he led them to work with me, not because they know I lost 80 pounds already. And yes, I'm saying it now and I say it in my content sometimes. But I mean, I would make a point to make sure I said it in every single thing. And it wasn't like I was saying it to say, hey, I lost 80 pounds, I could show you. It was like, no, I lost 80 pounds, so I'm validated and I'm qualified to show you. So he had to, that's still heart healing, right? Still heart and mind healing that had to take place in order for me to continue to move forward in my weight loss journey. And so that was something else he took me through, me being obedient to him and finally deciding, okay, I'm going to speak to the Christian women. I'm going to show up and only speak to Christian women. Things started going viral on my account. People started showing up. And then that's when he gave me the idea for Whole and Holy Girls Club. I knew I was supposed to have a community when I first started with the fitness group, the dance fitness, but it wasn't the time yet. And I didn't fully know what it was. I tried to start it back then because I knew that was something he was giving me to do, but I was out of alignment and out of timing. And I only had like 2 members. And I loved them, but I only had 2 members. So it wasn't the time. And so when I finally gave my full obedience in 2023, he gave me the idea, he gave me the name, everything for Whole and Holy Girls Club. He even gave me the full, like I have like this map of what we're how it's going to fully develop, and what it's going to look like as we continue. You know, things that we'll be doing, coaches will be hired, things like that. Like he's given me the full blueprint of Whole and Holy Girls Club. That's when you know, like, okay, this is the time. Because he showed me there was going to be a community before, but I didn't know what, I didn't know how, I didn't know a name. I made up a name. It was all coming from me. That's why I was out of timing and alignment. But once I finally was fully obedient to serving who he called me to serve, then he gave me the full blueprint of what I was supposed to do, who I was supposed to serve, and how I was supposed to serve them. And so he gave me that. And I was about to launch a program, and I had to cut the launch. And then I was like, nope, we're doing this instead. And then it was amazing, like 40 women. I went from 2 trying to do it myself to like 40, being obedient to him. And then as I continue to allow him to lead me, there are other things that have gone on. I'm still at this place of not moving past the 80 pounds down. But I've noticed like what has happened. So first, like I said, it was still me needing, first there was that spiritual warfare that was going on, but that broke off. And then I asked him, like, Lord, why am I still not moving forward? Like, I'm thinking it's still the enemy, like rebuking the enemy, binding him, all this stuff, casting him down, all that kind of stuff. And he was like, that spiritual warfare is gone. That delay, the delay that was coming from that was gone. It's you now. He told me it was me. And so what was happening was now I was in this place of self-sabotage. Because before, when I started, and I wasn't even planning on sharing all this, but here we go. Oh, here we are. Here we are. I wasn't planning on sharing none of this. I was just going to tell y'all how God helped me lose 80 pounds. So I hope this is helping somebody. Somebody must need to hear all this. I hope this is helping. So I got to this point where I realized that now I was self-sabotaging. Because, see, in the beginning, when I first started my weight loss journey, it was just me and God, right? Like, it was just, well, and my kids, but I'm just saying, as far as the weight loss, it was just me and him. Like, he told me to start the channel. So I was starting the channel. I was going to inspire people, but there was like nothing weighing on that. And so what I mean is, like, if I lost weight, I lost it. If I gained 1 week, I gained it. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. This was my channel for my weight loss journey. This is a real weight loss journey. Sometimes the scale goes up. Sometimes it doesn't budge. Sometimes it goes up a little. It's not always weight. Sometimes it's other things, right? Like, this is a realistic journey. Like, hey, I on my cycle and I binged on carbs this week. Like, some of the weight's up. Like, I was just sharing my real journey. And it didn't matter. But what happened was, like, when I stepped into this business, it was like, now there's this responsibility that I have. And so I started feeling the weight of that, because my weight loss was no longer just about me. It was about the women I serve. And I felt like I had to lose weight to prove that what I taught worked. And so there was this weight of that, because what I was teaching was what he gave me to teach. But I was like, but I don't want to make God look bad. So, like, I got to lose this weight. But then there was this pressure, again, all on me, because he never told me that I needed to take that on. His yoke is easy and his burden is light. He never said, okay, Malaika, when you start teaching this, I'm going to need you to be perfect. He never said that. But I started taking on weight again, mentally and emotionally. And so I was not releasing the weight from my body. And so it took me to this place of realizing that, wait, the spiritual warfare is gone. I'm not losing weight anymore. So what's going on? And so when you're in this journey with the Lord and you allow him to lead you, then what you start realizing is, okay, I was doing well. I'm not doing so great right now. So there must be something underlying here going on. It's not about trying to go do another diet. It's not about trying to starve myself. It's not about fasting, intermittent fasting or whatever, trying to disguise it as spiritual fasting. It's none of that. Like, what's really going on here, God? Because I know I was moving forward and now I'm not. So I know there's something going on. So that's what you start learning as you're on this weight loss journey with him. And so again, I got to this place where I realized, oh, he showed me that I was self-sabotaging. And that's why I wasn't moving forward. And so, praise the Lord, I got delivered from that a few weeks ago in March. And so I have released myself from that. I'm not like in this cycle anymore. And now I can move forward in my journey. Because again, that was mental and emotional weight and responsibility that I was taking on myself. And yes, there's a responsibility because I have to serve the women, and I would show up and serve them and then not do the very things that I know work to lose the weight because of the weight of that responsibility that I took on, that God never told me to take on. And so I had to release all that. I had to release the self-sabotage, which was wrapped up in looking like procrastination and, well, I don't want to say people pleasing, but all the things, the fear of success, the fear of failure, both the fear of success and the fear of failure, all that. And partly trying to disguise it as I don't want to make God look bad. God doesn't need my help. Not with that. He's gonna make his name look good. Right? That was me taking on undue stress and responsibility that I didn't need to. All he asked me to do was to show up and serve. All he asked me to do was to show up and serve. He didn't ask me to take on any way of trying to be perfect and trying to prove that what he told me to teach the women works. It's already proven. The women are getting results. But all I have to do is to keep being obedient. Keep allowing him to lead. That's what helped me lose 80 pounds. And that's what will help me lose the next 80. When Holy Spirit nudges me to not do something or to do it, that I listen and I'm obedient. That's what's going to lead to the next 80. That's what's going to lead to your 80 area. Because I just saw your comment. That's what's going to lead to whatever amount it is that you need to lose. That weight loss is wrapped in your obedience to him. Point blank, period. It's obedience to him. Again, it's not the rules, it's not the restrictions, it's the relationship. It's the relationship. That's what helped me lose the first 80. That's what's going to help me lose the next 80. That's what's going to help you lose your first 5. That's what's going to help you lose the next 5, and the next, and the next, and the next. It's you yielding and surrendering to what he is telling you to do and asking you to do. And for most of us, that's not a diet. I almost said all of us, but I'm not going to say that because God's going to do what he's going to do. For most of us, it's not a diet. He may tell you for a season to not eat something or to eat something. But that's on him, and you have to get those instructions from him, not from the world. I don't even tell my people, but the girls in Holy Girls Club, I don't tell them what to eat or not to eat. I could give them suggestions, right, from my nutrition coaching background or my degree. I could give them suggestions, but I don't, because the Lord will tell them what to do and not, and He does. And I know He'll do that for you. So I want to encourage you to drop the diets, drop the rules, drop the restrictions, and focus on your relationship with Him. That is where lasting weight loss is going to come from, because it's then that He's going to help heal your heart. He's going to heal your mind so that you can remove that weight off of your heart, off of your mind, remove any spiritual weight that you may be carrying as well, so that you can have that weight removed, and then your body will follow His lead. So I hope that was helpful. I have a live workshop coming up, and I would love for you to join me for that workshop. Let me get the title because I don't remember. It is Break Free from What's Blocking You, a spirit-led strategy session to overcome cravings, emotional eating, and inconsistency. So I would love for you to join me for that live workshop where I am going to walk you through how to overcome overeating, emotional eating, inconsistency, the cravings, the temptations, all the things. We're going to work through that in the workshop. The link is in the description, and when I'm done here with this live, I will also pin it as a comment. But it's malaikaburley.com/free. Break free, sorry, malaikaburley.com/break free, as in one word. Break free, like one word. Put it together. malaikaburley.com/break free. I would love for you to join me for that live workshop so that I can help you break through and start walking out this weight loss journey with God. All right. And hey, Lori, I saw your comment there. All right, you have an amazing, amazing day. If this was helpful, make sure to like the video, comment, and let me know which part of this in particular helped you to move forward, even if it's not in your weight loss journey, because I was sharing way more than just the weight loss. But however, whatever part of it may have helped you, let me know in the comments, because that encourages me as well to continue to move forward. And also share this with someone that you know may want the Lord to lead them in their journey as well. All right, you have a blessed day, and I will see you later.